Hey guys, Pixelmon 7.1 has been released, and in this video we are going to go over every single new addition to the Pixelmon mod. So the two major updates to this version of the mod are going to be the bikes and the move skills. We'll start off with the bikes because they're a little bit more straightforward, and then we'll get into the move skills, which adds a ton of really cool abilities to all of your Pokemon. A lot of stuff that is actually really surprisingly useful compared to some of the old move skills, which were originally called external moves, but they changed the name with this latest version. So we'll get into that, but before we do, let's go ahead and check out the brand new bikes. So we have the Mach bike and the Acro bike, the Mach bike being the blue one, the Acro bike being the red one, and this is the crafting recipe. So you put the silicon, which you can actually get from mining ore, around an iron ingot to get wheels. You're going to need 2 wheels for each of the bikes, of course, and then you get the handlebars, which is just leather, iron, and a couple sticks to get the handles, and then you have the frames. Now these are different. So the wheels in the handlebars are actually the same between both bikes, but then you need the frames, which just use a Dawnstone for the Acro bike and a Thunderstone for the Mach bike. So once you have all of that crafted, it's pretty straightforward. Also, you need aluminum ingots to actually build the frame, but you take the frame, you take the handles, and you take 2 wheels, you put those together, and you craft yourself a bike. Pretty straightforward, really actually easy to make, and then you can just toss it down. In order to pick it back up, all you do is just left click, I think. So you right click to mount it, left click to pick it back up. Although if you're in creative mode, that will just delete it. So make sure you're in survival mode, game mode 0, and then you can actually pick it back up. Messed up on the first 2. So the animation is definitely interesting to say the least, but it is actually really cool because you can do different things with these bikes. So the Acro bike is a little bit slower than the Mach bike overall, but it can actually go up 2 block jumps. I'm not actually sure how. Oh, there we go. Okay, so if you actually press space, you'll jump. So you can actually get up pretty steep inclines on this bike, but if you actually use the Mach bike, you'll be able to travel a little bit quicker. So let me go ahead and grab one of those. We can test that out as well. But this one should not be able to actually go up this 2 block jump. You can see the jump height is a lot lower, but it actually goes quite a bit faster. Now, the cool thing about both of these bikes is they do reduce your fall damage if you fall off a cliff. The Acro bike will actually reduce it by 5/6 of the damage you would have taken, and the Mach bike, a lot less, will only reduce it by 1/3. So if you're going to be jumping off mountains, make sure you do it on the Acro bike. And if you don't like the basic colors of these bikes, you should be able to actually right-click to dye them and change them to whatever color you prefer. You can, of course, do that with both of the bikes, which actually makes them look really cool. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that if you leave your bike out, other players on servers may be able to just walk up and take them. So I highly recommend anytime that you're not actually riding your bike, just go ahead and pick it back up, which you have to go into survival for. Okay. Oh, am I not? Oh, I'm clicking the wrong button. That's it. Okay. And it does actually save the dye color if you do break it and pick it back up, so that's pretty nice to know. All right, so now we are going to get into all of the brand new move skills. There's quite a few of them to get through, so I'm not going to spend too much time on each individual one. I'm also not going to be showcasing all of the different move skills that were already in the game before 7.1. If you want a list of every single move skill in the game, I will have it linked down in the description below. Just a link to a wiki page which explains in detail what each move does, how you can get them, and all of that stuff. But with that being said, let's jump into the first move, which is probably my favorite, and it's a move called Analyze. So Analyze can actually be taught to your Pokemon by either knowing the move Mind Reader or the move Foresight. So if they know either of those moves, then they can use the external move Analyze, and all you have to do is toss out your Pokemon, press B to open up this menu, go to the icon for Analyze, go up to a Pokemon, and press G. These are all with default keybinds. You can change these keybinds in your control settings, but let's go ahead and do that. And we should actually be able to press B. No, G. Okay, there we go. It loaded. And you can see it actually tells you their ability, their nature, the IVs, as well as the gender of the Pokemon that you're looking at. This move does have a 2-minute cooldown, but it is super useful. So if you just get a full team of Pokemon with this move, then you could run around and actually use it pretty often, because 2 minutes, it's kind of long, but it's not that long that you can't actually go around and analyze all the Pokemon you see if you have a full team of 6 Pokemon. Since each cooldown is separate per Pokemon, it's not per character, you can actually just have a ton of different Pokemon with the same move to kind of avoid having that full cooldown in a way. All right, so I spawned in a bunch of Pidgeots for this next move because it is an external move called Ground Birds. Now, if you've been playing Pixelmon for a long time, you will probably know that sometimes you get into situations where a Pokemon is flying up in the sky. This especially happens with a lot of the legendaries, and there's no way for you to get them without riding on a Pokemon or having access to /fly. So what this move does is actually allow you to knock those birds out of the sky. If your Pokemon knows either Smackdown or Gravity, it will get the external move Ground Birds, which has a 45-second cooldown and can be used just like the other moves. Let me go ahead and believe my Smeargle has it. So let's go ahead and toss him out. And it should be this one here. So if we go ahead and switch to that move and wait for one of them to fly up here. I'm not sure if that worked. So those were all birds that I spawned in, so maybe that was the issue. This is actually a naturally spawning one, which is flying a little more properly. He's actually staying up in the sky, unlike the ones that I spawned. So let me go ahead, toss out this guy, switch over to Ground Birds, and we'll see if this works. And that actually does work. Okay, so it does work on naturally spawning things. It seems like maybe it doesn't quite work on the Pokemon I spawned in, but that's okay because you guys won't have to deal with that problem. That is a super useful move. 45-second cooldown is not too bad, and I definitely recommend if you are hunting for legendaries that can fly that you bring that move because it'll make catching them so much easier. So this next move is not going to work on servers, but it will work in your single-player world. So if we go ahead and toss out our Kyogre, he knows the move Rain Dance will actually allow us to go ahead and initiate a thunderstorm. Now, if you use this with any regular Pokemon, it will just be basic rain, but if you use it with Kyogre, it will actually start a thunderstorm. At least I think that's supposed to happen. It doesn't seem to be raining. I don't know if I have my rain turned off or something. Not entirely sure on that one, but with that aside, let's go ahead and toss out our Arcanine because he knows the move Sunny Day, which will actually clear the weather. Now, for some reason, Kyogre's Rain Dance didn't actually make it start raining, so we're going to use Sunny Day anyways, but it's already kind of a sunny day because the rain never came from our Kyogre. Not sure what that's all about, but that's all right. That's how it's intended to work. It's supposed to start a rainstorm, but it didn't. There might be a reason for that. I don't actually have any idea. So next up, we have the external move called Scare. Now, your Pokemon can learn this by either knowing Scary Face, Mean Look, or Roar, or if it has the ability Intimidate, which means you don't even have to take up an external move slot or a move slot in general if it knows that ability. So that can actually be super helpful. Now, I believe none of our Pokemon have the ability Intimidate, but I do know that our Smeargle here has the move Roar, so let's go ahead and test this out. It should basically just work like a Repel. It has a 15-minute timer, which means aggressive Pokemon will not attack you for 15 minutes, and I don't really think there is going to be much that we're going to see, but you can see up in the top right corner a Repel icon shows up, and that is because we do have that Repel effect for the next 15 minutes. And it actually has a 5-minute cooldown, which means you can infinitely use this. The cooldown is shorter than the actual effect of the ability, which means you're pretty much just getting free repels for life if you use the move Scare. So this next one is actually called Smelt, and it basically does what it says. It smelts items in a furnace. Now, there's 5 different moves that you can actually teach your Pokemon to get access to this external move, and depending on which move you choose, the actual smelting ability will be more powerful, last longer, and actually can sometimes even smelt items instantly. I don't know exactly how this works, but I do know that the 5 different moves are Incinerate, Ember, Inferno, Burn Up, and Blue Flare. Now, obviously, these Pokemon can't naturally learn those moves, but we're not going to worry too much about that. We are just going to start things off with Incinerate, which I believe has a 2-minute cooldown timer. So let's go ahead and grab that, and we'll click this furnace. and it is going to instantly smelt 16 of the 64 iron ore, as well as give, it looks like, a pretty significant amount of smelting power there as well. That is actually pretty impressive. That actually seems really useful. So if you got like 6 Pokemon with that move, that could be really helpful. Now, Ember actually has a 1 minute cooldown. This is the only move that has a 1 minute cooldown. The rest all have 2 minutes. So let's go ahead and go on Smelt and see what this one does. Okay, so it does not actually instantly smelt any of the moves, but that cooldown is a little bit shorter, and it does still seem like it has a pretty significant amount of smelting power. You can see even the fire isn't even down at all yet on this one. So if we move along to the next move, that is going to be, I believe, our Sandslash has Inferno. Okay, so let's go ahead and do it here. And that's actually going to smelt 32, so that's the most powerful one we've done yet. With a 2 minute cooldown, being able to instantly smelt half a stack of items, that's pretty insane. Next up, we have actually Burn Up. Now, I expect this one to be a little bit weaker, but I'm not entirely sure, so let's just go ahead and test it out. Oh, okay, so no, it's actually exactly the same as the previous one, which was Inferno, right? Inferno? Yeah, Inferno. So Inferno and Burn Up seem to be about the same. Ember only smelted 3 items. That's pretty weak. It looks like our first move, Incinerate, smelted 20. This one actually is already up to 36, and it still seems to be going strong. And this one down here is at 34. So we'll let those continue to run, but we have our final move, which is the Blue Flare move. I expect this one to be the best, but I could be totally off on that. Blue Flare, pretty high power, pretty decent accuracy. May also leave the target with burn. Let's go ahead and test this one out, and that is 32 items again. So it might be exactly the same as Burn Up and Inferno. Those 3 might be all the best, although we'll have to wait and actually see when these stop smelting. It looks like this one's going to stop at about 38. So I'm going to let the other 2 continue to run, and we'll see which one ends up being the most effective. All right, so Burn Up also stopped at 38. We're just waiting on Blue Flare to see how that one ends up. But pretty much all of the moves, I think, at least the first ones we used, are already available for use again. So we could just go ahead and go like this. And now there's one final test that I wanted to do. It actually turns out Blue Flare ended at 38 as well. So it turns out Inferno, Burn Up, and Blue Flare all have the same effectiveness. But I wanted to try actually putting all 4 of these moves on our Pokemon and just see what happens when we use the external move Smelt. I don't know if they'll all go off or it'll just pick one. If it'll pick maybe the first move or it'll pick a random one, the most powerful one. I don't know for sure, but we're going to test it out here and just see how exactly this works. So let's toss out our Rapidash, which knows all 4 Smelt moves. Well, 4 out of 5. And we'll go ahead and do that. It looks like, okay, I don't know what happened there. I don't know how it decided which move to choose. It didn't choose the first one because that would have been Ember. That would have been pretty bad. It seems like it actually used the PP for Ember, although I could be wrong about that. But that is definitely interesting to say the least, because I mean, our Rapidash knows all 4 of the moves, and it didn't use the first move, so how did it end up deciding? I guess maybe just the most powerful one, but I don't know. I'd have to ask the developers to see exactly how that works, because it did not give me that much information, but it does not use all of the moves at the same time. It seems like it just chooses one. Could be totally random. Not sure. With that being said, we have one final external move, which is actually a really cool one. So this move is actually called Ore Sense. The way that it works is you use either the move Magnet Rise, Metal Sound, or Magnet Pull. Magnet Pull being an ability, Magnet Rise and Magnet Sound being the 2 different moves, and you get the external move Ore Sense. Has a pretty cool icon. These icons are actually really awesome, so whoever created these, thank you for making such cool art. It actually looks really good. So let's go ahead and use Ore Sense. We'll go ahead and trigger that. It has a 5-minute cooldown. I'm not actually sure how long it is supposed to last, so it just says for a short period of time. I guess we'll find out. Let's go ahead and toss out our Smeargle, use Ore Sense, and we can see the ores through the walls. Okay, whoa. Okay, so when it says short time, it really means short time. Let me go ahead and teach let's go ahead and teach Magnet Rise to our Rapidash, just so that we can test that out again. Okay, so you can even see like the different types of ores. I saw some gold. I think I saw something blue down there. Could have been either like crystal or diamond. I definitely saw some iron. So that is actually pretty cool. It does basically just give you X-ray for a few seconds, and the cooldown is pretty long. So it feels kind of balanced, I guess. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that one. But it does only last for a couple seconds, so you're definitely going to need to bring a team of like 6 Pokemon with you when you go on mining adventures. It is going to make things very difficult to tell if people are X-raying or not, because usually you can just tell by the tunnels that are made, but in this case, everybody pretty much just gets free X-ray built into the mod. Yeah, not sure how I feel about that one at the moment. So outside of the bikes and the move skills, there is a ton of bug fixes that I'm not going to go through in this video, but if you want to check out the full changelog, you can do so by visiting reforged.gg. That is also where you can download the mod. The server, the Poke Central server, my server, will be updating to this version of the mod very soon. If you want to stay up to date on when exactly that is happening, make sure to go ahead and join my Discord server, which will be linked down in the description below. One other thing in this version that is kind of cool is actually, it's actually pretty cool, is the Anchor Mega I guess necklace. It's actually really awesome. My only problem with it is that if you're wearing a Pixelmon sash, it doesn't really work perfectly. But either way, I think it's pretty cool. It definitely, I prefer this over the glasses or the ring. So I'll probably just keep using the Mega Anchor necklace. They also apparently added in cosmetic items for Eevee hoods and Pikachu hoods. I don't know exactly what those look like or what they are, but they say they are giveaway items, which I believe is over on their Discord server. So if you want to join the official Pixelmon Discord server, it is probably linked on reforged.gg somewhere, so you can join that and enter their giveaways for those specific hoods. I'll try to see if maybe I can get myself those items so I can actually showcase them in future videos, but for now, I can't actually do that because I don't know what they look like, and I don't have any way of really finding any pictures of them. And other than that, it's really just very minor changes or things that are just bug changes. There's a lot of bugs that were fixed, which is great, but they're not really the most interesting thing to talk about in videos. So like I said, check out that changelog. Make sure to download the new version of the mod, give feedback to the developers, and you can do that by leaving comments down below. If you have any ideas or anything you think they should change, add, or modify in any way, a lot of these ideas for these external moves, or I guess I should call them move skills now, those actually came from, I believe, my video comment section. That video got almost 600 comments giving recommended moves for external moves. Said it again, for move skills. It's going to take a while to get used to that. We've had external moves in the mod for years, so it's just new. With that being said, so I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone that participated in that. It actually is super awesome to see my community able to actually give input on the mod and actually see the mod developers take that input and add it to the game. It's really cool to see, so thank you to both sides there, and thank you to everyone that's watched this video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to go ahead and leave a like on it. If you're excited for Pixelmon 7.1, make sure to join my Discord server and keep an eye out for updates on when the server update will actually be going live. It should be in the next couple of days. And with that being said, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.